Making it clear that our hearts are file keepers. It is a file cabinet. It is a record keeping system. And the last verse, so shalt thou find favor and good understanding in the sight of God and man. So if we find favor and good understanding in the sight of God and man, when we write his commandments in our hearts, what will we find if we are not writing mercy and truth? Because the word is telling us what to write, but it is also making it clear that we can write some other things. If we are not writing mercy and truth in our hearts in order to obtain favor and good understanding with God and man, then we're going to have the opposite of favor. We're going to have the opposite of good understanding with God and with men, or mankind, human beings, systems and organizations that are operated by human beings, right? And so favor simply means grace. And grace, as I like to define it, is the blessings that we cannot earn and do not deserve. While mercy, which is the twin of grace and mercy go together all the time. Mercy is the absolvement from the punishment we have earned and do deserve. Okay? And so we will have the opposite of grace if we do not write mercy and truth on our hearts. We will have the opposite of good understanding. What is good understanding? It is good sense. It is insight. It is wisdom. It is light to a situation. We will have ignorance without writing mercy and truth in our hearts. That means that we have condemnation, because that is the only result of a life without grace. A life without grace is law after law after law. A life without grace is punishable by God. If we are walking in unforgiveness, we not only have forfeited the favor with God, we have forfeited with a favor with the very people who could give a promotion, who can say yes on that loan, who can grant the application, okay? All right, because there are certain people set up in certain systems to do certain things, particularly do certain things for you. You also operate without understanding that there's a misunderstanding. There's a miscommunication with God, because Jesus abolished that system of debt. And the offense is this: you establish something that Jesus abolished. You are a rebel. You are in clear defiance. But let's look at it this way. You live next door to Jesus Christ. He decides to throw something out of his home. You see it on the curb and you go and pick it up before the garbage man comes in the morning, and you actually enter his home back door and you put it back where it once was. I want you to imagine what would happen if someone did that to you. You put something out of your house, and someone else, whether they be an inhabitant of your home or not, decides to go and take it out of the garbage, take it out of the pit of hell, and bring it back into your home. When we are holding unforgiveness, we go into the sea of forget. How dare we? Pick it up and bring it back into our home where the Spirit of the Lord dwells. It is offensive The nerve of us. It is blatant defilement and defiance. When you say somebody owes me something, you place yourself into the debt system. The Bible says forgive and be forgiven. Or if you don't forgive, you won't be forgiven. So now you become subject. You become subject to the very system that you have established. You're subject to deal with it. You don't even know, like that episode of Martin where he got the Benjamin Banneker clock, gave it to Pam, and it cuckooed all night. You don't even know that this thing is cuckoo. Now here's the thing. We have heard forgiveness is not for them, it's for you. And that is very cliche, but it is true. It is at the least partly true. Here's why. Jesus Christ is not helping us to understand that we have to forgive in order to, if you want to say, appease ourselves. It's not just a matter of, oh, you're going to feel better after you do it if you just let it go. Because this ain't got nothing to do with feelings first. Maybe last, but not first. He's not telling you to forgive them first for your feelings. It's for the acknowledgement that his sacrifice goes deeper than your offense. It goes deeper than your emotions. It goes deeper than your pain, than your anguish, than your thoughts, because he went to the absolute depth, and we will never feel that anguish. We will never feel that pain. We will never have that kind of offense. We may have a Judas, but were you there? We may have a form of persecution, but his skin was torn from his body, and then they pierced his side. He actually went through the absolute worst of the worst. He hit the very bottom of the pit of pain. He hit the very bottom of the pit of offense. And so we have no right to allow what happened to be more important than his sacrifice. So when you choose to forgive someone, you are honoring the Lord who died for you to be forgiven. It is first. His sacrifice is first. His sacrifice is foremost. His sacrifice is of the utmost importance. And if you remember that, if you hold on to that, if you bind that around your neck and on your heart, it's going to be very hard to be offended when somebody does not live up to your expectations. Okay? Now, the second portion of forgiveness is for you. Okay? Because if you forgive, then you stay out of the debt system. Here's the thing. If we owe an organization, a company, or even a person, however it works, if a person owes another entity of any kind, that entity, that organization is going to make some calls, going to send a text, maybe send an email, maybe send a letter to the house. If they get no response, they're going to send a certified notice. Maybe they hire a lawyer, or maybe they hire a debt collector to chase the debtor for what is rightfully owed to them. Now, this system of paying back has been established since the widow came to the prophet and said, hey, my husband, worked for you, but he left us in a whole lot of debt.